every learner must know that just as in politics, people have rights, just as children have rights, men have rights, women have rights, workers have rights, even learners of maths have rights. So we're going to go through all your rights, and maybe at the end of this presentation, you may want to add in one or two more rights. Please do so and write to me and tell me what more should be considered as rights. One of the first rights that I consider for any learner is that he must say, I am good and I can do it. That's your first right. You have a right to say, I am good and I can do it. And so, this is the most basic of your maths rights. And over here, you'll find all your rights are listed. You can go through them one by one and then try and implement them as you are studying. Your next right is you are allowed to draw a diagram. So, if a question is talking about a rectangle, nobody's going to ask you to draw a rectangle. It is your right, and you make sure you draw a rectangle and fill in as much information as possible on that drawing. Now, this is my right. Nobody's going to tell me I must draw the rectangle. I must draw it myself, and I must fill in as much information as possible. Right number 3. I have a right to ask the facilitator to ask questions, ask for meanings of words. If the facilitator is saying, find a product, and you don't know what the word product means, or if you don't know what to do, then you must ask, what am I required to do in order to determine the product? So you must ask. Imagine if you wanted 100 rands and you didn't ask your parents, so you will never get the 100 rands. Similarly, if you're sitting in a maths class and if you don't ask the question, you won't get the answer, or your doubt will not be solved. So that was your right number 3, ask. Number 4. Number 4. You have a right to learn step by step. You have a right to learn step by step. You also have a right to tell the teacher to show you how to do it step by step. For example, if I was given this example 8/2, I may be shocked. But if I try to do it step by step, then I will say, well, this means divide. Therefore, it will be 8 divided by 2. And then I will say, well, 8 divided by 2 is 4. So I'm going step by step. Of course, we can make the example a little more complicated. If I was told, find the area of this triangle, and if I try to do this example step by step, then there are a number of steps involved here. Firstly, step 1, I'll have to identify the base. So that's step 1. Step 2, I'll have to identify the height. So this is my height. Step 3, I have to ask, do I need this 5? I don't need it because I'm required to find area. So, step 1, find base. Step 2, identify height. Step 3, check whether you need to use the 5. You don't have to use the 5. Step 4, write down the formula for area, which is half base times height. And I can write it like that, and I understand it that it is half times base times height. Then step 5, I am now substituting half times base, which is 4, times height, which is 3. So 3 4s 12, 12 times half, 6. So I've done this example step by step. Never mind how complicated the example is. If you try it step by step, you are going to succeed. So we're going back to number 4. Number 4 was the learner must do things step by step. And step 5, you can ask your teacher or your educator or your facilitator to show you how to do things step by step. So it works both ways. The learner must do his work step by step, and if the learner is not sure, then he must ask the educator to explain step by step. All teachers do it. They do explain step by step, but what will happen is you will be missing a step. And if you have missed a step that the teacher has covered, use your rights to ask the teacher, please go back to maybe step 3. I got lost at step 3. Please go back there and explain step 3 to me. So this is a very, very powerful thing and a powerful right. And make sure that you learn your work step by step, that you do your work step by step, and that if anybody is teaching it to you, you follow every step that they are teaching to you. Step number 6. If you wish to solve a problem, then it is your right to solve a problem step by step. For example, you will draw a diagram. Then you will fill in the details. Then you will write down whatever is given. Right? Remember, the diagram is not drawn to scale, or let's make it more real. Well, so if I had to solve a problem and say here I was trying to find x, then I have a right to solve my problem step by step. And the first step is draw a diagram. The next step, fill in the information that is given. Then the next step is to recall as much as you can about the question on hand. They gave you P is perimeter. So you will recall what is perimeter. And then you will recall perimeter is 2 into length plus breadth for a rectangle. So if I was solving this problem and I was told the perimeter is 40, I was told one side is 15, I was asked to find x, draw a diagram, fill in your information, look at the given information, recall as much information as you can. So we recall perimeter is 2 into length plus breadth. Therefore, we can now move forward once we've got all this, because we can now substitute, or in other words, we can use another right of ours which says move from the known to the unknown. We know the perimeter is 40. We know the length is 15. We don't know what the breadth is, so we leave it like that. And then when you look at this, it's recall again that you've got to open the brackets out. So you've got 40 is equal to 30 plus 2x. Now at this stage, if you forgot how to remove a bracket, you will have to go and revise that section. So now clearly this is 30, so that must be 10. Now if 2x is 10, then x is 5. So I have a right to solve my problem the way I want to, as long as I am using mathematical rules, as long as it makes mathematical sense, as long as it is logical. So that's your right number 6, to solve a problem using steps. And your steps are: draw a diagram, fill in the information, then study the information that is given and recall as much as you can relevant to the question, and then move from the known to the unknown. So we're moving from the known and from the known to solving for the unknown. Right? Now we move on to right number 7. Now this right number 7 is your right to do a construction. Now this especially works in geometry, right? In geometry, to solve problems, you have rights to do constructions. For example, I can join any 2 points that I like. If I got A, B, C, and D here, I can join A to D. I can join A to D. That is my right, to join any 2 points. You're only allowed to join 2 points at a time. If I have another question, for example, if I'm dealing with this triangle here, I have a right to produce this line. So I have a right to produce the line, means to make it longer. Then I have a right to draw a line parallel to a given line. If I am given these 2 lines which are parallel, I have a right to draw another line in the middle or below it parallel to the given lines. So it's my right. If I am given a parallelogram, for example, if I am given a parallelogram like that, then I have a right to draw the height in it. I don't have to fear. I can draw the height any way I like. I can draw the height there, and of course, if you know your work, then you'll know that there are 2 heights, so I can even draw the other height going across there like that. So these are my rights, and I can use them wherever I want to. If anything is unknown, you have a right to call it any small letter. You can call it X, or you can call it Y, or you can call it A, or B, or C, whatever small letter you like. That is your right. So anything that is unknown, you can call it X. Now remember, if you have 2 unknowns, then you'll have to call one X, and the other one will be Y. If there's only one unknown, then you'll just call it X or Y or A or B or C. If there are 2 unknowns, then one will be X and the other one will be Y, or one will be A and the other one will be B. The choice is yours. It is your right what you like to call it. Right. Right number 9. Use a